takes a village, because for all means for all. Together we'll break down any wall. Linked in love, we won't disarm. We're uniting the grassroots army strong. So press play, feel the spark. This is where the movement starts. It takes a village and we're the proof. Truth in action, raising the roof. It takes a village. It takes a village. We rise together, louder than fear. One voice from fire, crystal clear. From every banner, every street, unity moves on dancing feet. We rise together, we're strong. A million hearts singing
one song. Welcome, everyone in the village. I am your friendly, charming, and furious host, Political Jess. Thank you all so much for being here. Tonight we have kind of a special deal. Tonight it's going to be rage-inducing, but also super hopeful, especially if you are of the fairer sex. We're going to talk about the war on women, guys. It's something that we definitely need to talk about, because we don't want any sneaky shit, coming up on us, and like they have before. So yeah, we'll just kind of hop into it, guys, and buckle in, because I've got a great intro. Grab yourself something to drink, grab yourself something to munch on. Super duper important. This conversation absolutely has to happen, and I would love to hear your thoughts after I'm done with this. Okay, so let's talk about the war on women. It's not one law. It's not one election, not one Supreme Court case. It's not one creepy podcaster with a ring light and a persecution complex because women stopped laughing at his creepy cryptocurrency jokes. It's a system. It's a legal system, an economic system, a political, a medical, a religious, and a cultural system. And for more than 250 years, that system has been one reoccurring mission: limit women's choices while convincing women that limitation is protection. That's the entire scam. In 1839, Mississippi became the first state to pass Married Women's Property Act, giving married women the right to own property in their own names in Mississippi, of all fucking places. Before that, under coverture, married women were legally swallowed by their husband, not literally, of course, it's figurative. But their identity didn't exist. It's very cute, very land of the free, unless your husband has a pulse. And here's the ugly comparison. In 1839, your personhood changed depending on whether your state recognized you as more than your husband's accessory. And in 2026, your bodily autonomy changes depending on whether or not your state recognizes you as more than a uterus with a Wi-Fi. That's not progress. That's patriarchy with a software update. It's the same damn scam in a different century. And back then the question was, can she own land? Can she keep wages? Can she sign a contract? Can she exist legally without a man standing nearby her like a permission slip with pants? And today the question is, can she get AB care? Can she survive a miscarriage without a lawyer? Can she access mifepristone? Can she leave the state? Can she divorce safely? Can she choose to not marry, not to birth, not to serve, not to shrink? And the answer is, once again, depends on what state you're in. Right now, 13 states have a total abortion bans, and 41 states have AB bans or gestational restrictions in effect. So yes, a man can drive from Texas to Illinois and remain a full legal citizen the entire way. But a pregnant woman can cross the same map and watch her rights flicker on and off like a freaking light switch rave. Freedom, apparently, is location-based now. It's very premium subscription, very founding fathers with a clipboard. And the economic war matters too. This was never just about bodies. It was about money, property, power, access, mobility, escape. Women were denied property ownership, voting rights, equal wages, credit access, leadership opportunities, business ownership, independent banking, inheritance rights, and financial autonomy. And then society acts shocked that men accumulate most of the wealth and power. Like, whoa, super incredible mystery someone calls Scooby-Doo. Today, women are roughly half of the population. But women hold about 28% of Congress. Women hold 26% of Senate seats. Women run only about 11% of Fortune 500 companies, and women make up about 14% of the world's billionaires. Only 2 of the top richest 20 people in the world are women. 2 out of 20. These are not random statistics. These are economic fossil records of patriarchy. Because when you spend entire centuries telling women, you can't own land, you can't open credit, you need male permission, you belong at home, you shouldn't lead, you shouldn't speak, you shouldn't control reproduction, but you really need to smile more. Strangely, wealth accumulates in other places. And yet women still built lives anyways, because despite all of that, single women living alone now own more homes than single men living alone in America, which is honestly, that explains a lot of the panic, right? Because the backlash that we are seeing is not just about ABs. It's about independence. Economic independence, sexual independence, political independence, relational independence. They are not mad women are lonely. They are mad women have options. They are mad that women can say no. Not you, not this, not anymore. They are mad because sex is no longer a public utility for mediocre men. Before no-fault divorce, just leave was a cruel joke. No-fault divorce began in California in the year of our Lord, 1969. Yes, that means your grandmothers knew what it was like. Before that, many women had to prove cruelty, adultery, abandonment, or abuse in order to leave their toxic marriages. The state didn't ask, do you want out? Instead, the state asked, have you suffered enough for us to believe you? And when states adopted no-fault divorce, female suicide rates dropped by about 20%. Domestic violence declined significantly. Women became safer, and that should have been the end of the debate forever. That is the statistic right there. When women had more exits, fewer women unalived. Instead, some conservatives are openly discussing rolling back no-fault divorce protections because apparently women surviving is controversial now. It's funny how that works. Give women exits and suddenly the traditional family starts looking less like a home and more like a hostage situation with curtains. And honestly, we don't have any stats before 1969 that tell us how many women were unalived by their husbands during this time. The federal government did not even properly track that data in ways that allow historians to answer that question cleanly. And honestly, that's part of the indictment. The country trapped women in marriages, denied them financial independence, denied them easy exits, minimized domestic violence, ignored marital rape, failed to protect women, and then failed to even count the bodies well enough for history to fully measure the damage. That is not a missing statistic. That is a confession. From 1976 to 1985 alone, national studies found over 16,000 spouse homicides, with wives at significantly greater risk of being unalived by spouses than their husbands. Again, when women gained more legal power to leave, violence declined. The system knew. And now we have tech bros, podcast philosophers, and Republican backroom womb accountants acting like feminism destroyed civilization because women can open checking accounts, own homes, buy vibrators, delay marriage, reject a bad man, choose careers, choose childlessness, and have fucking standards. And some of these men are not fringe anymore. They're influencing legislation. campaigns, media narratives, judicial appointments, public policy. They openly argue that feminism ruined society. Women are too selective. Declining birth rates are women's fault. Masculinity is under attack. Women working destroyed families. Men are owed sex, marriage, obedience, and submission. We have all heard the trope before. And meanwhile, lawmakers continue targeting abortion access, contraception access, IV protections, sex education, maternal health care, divorce protections, and LGBTQ protections, because this was never about ABs. It has always been about control. Religion has been weaponized too. There's a reason that some of this rhetoric sounds like it came from a haunted church basement in 1987. There used to be these tiny evangelical comic pamphlets called chick tracts, little black and white religious comics warning people about feminism, abortion, queerness, independence, rock music, and basically joy itself would send you straight to hell. Tiny little comic books, massive cult energy. The women in them were portrayed as selfish, rebellious, dangerous, corrupted by independence. And honestly, some of today's rhetoric feels like those pamphlets got a podcast sponsorship. Because here's the truth. The war on women is not new. The tactics evolve, the language evolves, the branding evolves, but the fear underneath it stays exactly the same. That fear that women might fully belong to themselves. Because once women can own property, control money, control reproduction, leave marriages, build wealth, hold office, reject bad men, and choose freely and openly, patriarchy stops looking natural. It starts looking exactly like it always was. A power structure, terrified of losing control. And that's why they're so loud right now. Because women are no longer asking permission. And the system was never designed for that. Thank you all so much for being here. Please share out the live. Please tap up the screen. I would love to get your thoughts. Lisa, do you have time to come up and talk about what you think? Integrity? We've got Fabulous Finds on her way. She's just running a little late. Hey.
Hey, friend. How are you?
I'm on fire right now. How are you?
I love that intro. It was really well done. It was very well executed. And I think it said all the things. Like it touched on all the different pressure points that us women feel throughout life, and the obstacles that we've dealt with, and the obstacles that they would like us to deal with again. This is something I think about a lot. It's something I talk about a lot. And it's because I have seen it for a very long time, even before Donald Trump, that the Republican Party and a lot of the men, and it's not just the right-wing men, there are a lot of men on the left, even though they will not admit it out loud, would not mind us going a little bit back to a time when men were, they would say, more respected. Mm-hmm. And I would say more feared and more needed. Like needed in a way that you need somebody because you can't, you have children and you would not be able to afford to, keep a roof over their head or keep them fed without the financial assistance of your husband or your, baby daddy or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And men, a lot of men, I would say a majority, Yeah, I would say a preponderance, maybe not a majority, but I would say at least a preponderance, which is like 51%. Although I really believe it's more than that. Wish we could go back to that. And I don't know if you guys, but if you guys ever heard me talk about my brother-in-law um, after, like before and after the election. So before the 2024 election, he was staunchly anti-Trump, hated Trump, said he was crazy, like all this stuff. He didn't vote for him in 2016. He didn't vote for him in 2020. He didn't even vote for him in 2024. Him and his buddy would talk about Trump almost all day long because he's disabled, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my sister has pretty much been the breadwinner since she was 24, right? You know, has taken care of them and has provided a very good life for them. She makes about, you know, and she has for a long time, makes, you know, about 160,000 a year and has for at least 10 years. And she's always, you know, always made good money. She put herself through school and all this stuff while he was in prison. And then he got out, right? And she pretty much had raised the kids too while he was in there by herself while she was working for full time and going to school.
Mm-hmm.
And so I say all that to say that after the election, he came strutting through the door. Now they live right next door. Strutting through our front door and sat on the couch and was like, "Yeah, things are changing now. Things are going to change around here. You know, yous are going to have to get used to it." And I'm like, "What the hell is he talking about?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, Trump's mandating it. Trump's mandating it." I'm like, "Trump's mandating what?" And he's like, "Oh, well, the women aren't going to be able to work and only the men are going to be able to work and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, Trump's mandating it." I'm like, you know that that's not what that means when they say Trump has a mandate, right? Yeah, thank you. I was getting the feedback. And I was like, you know that that's not what they mean on TV when they say that Trump has a mandate. It's a political term that they use when you know, somebody gets a lot of votes and they said, "Oh, they got a mandate from the voters," meaning the voters have said this is what we want done.
Yeah.
That doesn't suddenly take away all the laws and the rules and everything. I said, and if you think that women are just going to say, "Oh, okay, yeah, we'll go back to the kitchen and not work anymore," I was like, for one, you're delusional. I said, for two, even if women did do that, we don't have an economy that would allow for that anyway. Like we would all lose our houses and stuff. And he had it in his mind, even though he's been disabled for more than 20 years and have been collecting that SS, you know, Social Security check, Social Security disability check, and she's been the breadwinner, that somehow she was going to have to stay home and be under his thumb while he goes and gets a job somewhere and is able to provide the living and the luxury that he's become accustomed to somehow. That's what he was saying. Now like I said, this is what tells me that I have been right this whole time when I say it's a majority of men, even men on the left, even men who you would not believe for a second, right? That you're like, "Oh, they hate Trump, blah, blah, blah." No, they're only saying what they think other people find it acceptable around them. But if you really got down to what they really think, like we did, and I can tell you he has since gone back and he doesn't talk about that day. He doesn't talk about that anymore. And if you brought it up to him, I bet you he would lie out of it that he didn't say all that. But it made me feel crazy, Jess. It literally made me feel crazy. But at the same time, I'm like, see, I fucking told you. Like, I told y'all. You know what I mean? This is how men really think. Like, men have always had a situation, they've always had a world in which they reign supreme, where women were inferior, where women are just a toy, a plaything, property. Somebody, you know, a woman's value is what a woman could do for them.
Yeah.
or get for them or be for them. That's it. We're not real people to most men.
No, and the system is built exactly like that. Like the system works exactly as it was designed. Women are forced to carry pregnancies but denied paid leave. They're told to have babies but childcare is unaffordable. Women are told marriage protects them when no-fault divorce is attacked. Women are told sex has consequences while men's consequences are optional. Women are told to choose better when systems protect abusers, bosses, judges, landlords, and lawmakers. It makes no sense to me. Welcome onto the panel. Thanks for jumping up, Integrity and V. Thank you guys for being here. Crickets.
I just wanted to add something real quickly to the whole conversation. I think
Yeah, because you're a raging feminist, aren't you, Integrity?
I am, and
Yes.
I think somewhere we got sideways because the Constitution always said all people, not man, woman, child. But unfortunately, somewhere things got sideways in history, and first, that we allowed children to be viewed as property. Secondly, that we allowed women to be viewed as property. And that's where things broke and where now we have to fight harder than we've ever fought before, because children are not property. Women have never been property. But because of the patriarchy and it being allowed, the laws to, over time, have slowly and constantly been, women didn't have rights. A woman didn't have a credit card. Women couldn't vote. It is, and that's why I stopped my feet so hard, because somewhere we went sideways, because it was supposed to be all people. It wasn't only the white man. It wasn't, and history allowed that to become the thing. And it just makes me sick, because I agree with what Lisa said. I think most men, and unfortunately, I find myself, even with, my young nephew. Well, he's not young; he's in his 30s now. But when I have these conversations with men, he's a great guy, but he can't see it, and he doesn't understand. He's like, I don't understand, Carrie, why are you so upset? And I'm like, because you, and not you specifically, but they can't. It is beyond their comprehension. And the problem is what I don't understand is, generationally we've allowed it to continue and continue and continue, and someone somewhere has to finally put a stop. And if those of us on liberal women do not raise our sons to understand, the patriarchy will pull you in.
Yeah.
And you will come out saying these exact same things, because it's a wild. But if we don't change the course and we don't fight, because unfortunately now we're in an uphill battle to fight what the Constitution wrote that we should have had always, but because it got taken away. And again, that's history. I'd have to dig in much deeper about where exactly did things turn. But I think the founding fathers, they wrote with this great idea, but then we had slavery, and we had all of the things that happened in our history that somehow made people less. And we were less, and children are less, and people of color are less. And it was never supposed to be like that. But the only way it stops is we keep stomping, and we keep shouting, and we keep fighting, because we've been history has robbed entire groups of people of their rights. And it's just been allowed, and everybody, and now that's why I think men, especially the Republican men, are like, oh my God, we have to take it all back, because they realize that no one's going away quietly, especially on this side of the aisle. And women, like you said in your intro, are far more powerful now than maybe we've ever allowed ourselves to be. Mm-hmm. And so I think, and that's why I'm always like, no, I'm going to scream every second of the day about how our rights are impeded on all the time. I do it at my job. And and unfortunately I just tell the white men at the top, like, must be nice to be white and at the top. And they don't know what to do with themselves but if we don't call it out for what it is, it never stops.
Yeah.
Or you never bring attention to it. And so, yeah, I get myself in trouble a lot, and I'll never be a great, somebody at the top at a federal job, because I will not play the politics of it all. And if we don't stop, they will keep coming for us always.
Yeah. And the other thing too that I want to point out is that we don't just need all of us women to be standing up and screaming our heads off, because we are doing that. We have been doing that. We need men, especially white men, to join us. That's what we need. We need men who have this privilege and this power to understand that it is not just, and they need to step back from it and sacrifice the possibility of living in a different world that doesn't put them at the top of the food chain.
Yeah, I can't agree with that more. And you're right. More men need to step forward. I guess when you see it on TikTok and I see I don't know, out of 100 videos, you might run across one guy who's like, all of this that's happening to women's wrong, or, it's not enough. And like I said, unfortunately, I truly believe, and I believe this with my entire soul, that because of the world that surrounds our young men and young men in general, because the thing is that we're all born the same, right? We're all born, we all show up no matter what, male, female, at birth, whatever, however you want to look at that, we show up. And then somewhere between the time go through school, we graduate high school, maybe it's in college, the guys are like, hey, I don't have to study as hard, because I'm going to get the grade, or I'm going to get the job, and I don't have to be better than the woman, because I'm just going to get the job, or I can lie about it and it's okay. And for whatever reason, young women and ladies and even as girls, we allow that system to beat us down the whole way. I mean, I was born in the 70s. I can remember boys seemed to get away with everything, but heaven forbid I got out of line and kind of acted like the tomboy that I was.
Oh shit!
I got in trouble for it.
They used to kick our asses, and then the freaking adults would be like, oh, well, it's just because he has a crush on you. Like,
right.
The fuck is that shit?
And one of the other things I wanted to say, and I haven't had a child, so you ladies, you all can attest to this, but I can tell you that I am tired now of hearing even women say, women handle pain better. Now, I agree we do, but not because we should have to. We handle pain because the patriarchal system of our medical society has said, women, if women have really bad cramps and things aren't good, like, we can just tell them to take a Motrin and it's all going to be okay. But if a guy went in with really bad cramps, the first thing he'd be handed is something to take care of his pain. And this is another problem. Our system, it's the patriarchy. And so, think about monthly or annual exams for ladies. Men would never tolerate that, but we never should have had to tolerate what they do and how they do, and that it was just okay for us to feel some pain. Like, it's fine. We're just going to put this speculum. It's all going to be fine. Like, we're going to just scrape around and things are going to be fine. It never should have been allowed without something.
Yeah.
But the system said, it's okay. They're women. They can handle it. And we have to quit saying that, oh, we handle pain better, because it's not about what we do or we don't. It's about that the system has allowed us all to take that and somehow we've internalized it. Like, oh yeah, well, we have kids, so like we can handle it. No, we never should have had to handle it. And we never should have had to suffer in any way, shape, or form. But it's also partly because medicine and the patriarchal system within medicine has never looked at us as equals either. So what they know about a man today medically is still more than they know about women medically.
Right.
Well, is it getting better? Sure, maybe. I don't know. I can't speak from, a physician's point of view, but I certainly can tell you that they know less about us as the greater population than they know about the lesser of the population, because they always focus on the lesser.
Right.
Always.
Let me get some new voices in here too. First of all, welcome to the panel, Britt and Tennis. And V, I don't know if you heard me say welcome to you earlier as well. Hello. Thank you guys so much for being here. We're going to bring in another person as well that I just dropped for, and hopefully we can get her in. Hello, my friends. So, Tennis, let me start with you. How angry are you about the way things are currently? And what barriers do you see that are blaring in your life every day?
Well, I feel a little bad because I'm kind of insulated, right, with my privilege. I live in New York. I live in a microcosm of liberal politics. Although there is some, I've had the benefit of working in New York and being exposed to much more liberal-minded people. So yes, I really do keep my finger on the pulse of everything going on, and this is an important live, and they are trying to take our rights away, with the SAVE Act, and with they'd like to strip our 19th Amendment. So I think we really need to get loud about it, and I wish AOC or maybe Elizabeth Warren or someone would take it up. Like, we need a pink hat demonstration about all this. So that's what I'll start off as saying. Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay, Britt, you had a story to tell. And I want you to know, first of all, that this is a safe space, and only share what you're comfortable sharing. There's going to be no pressure, no, any negativity here. Okay. So the floor is yours, my dear.
I was going to comment on what you said about we need more men to speak up, not just women, because it is important for the men. And I wanted to give you guys some hope that there are some men that are doing that, like my husband. He has been very supportive throughout this entire thing, and he's just as mad as all of us. And he is constantly sharing posts and reposting and getting the word out. He has all of Not Your Merch's stickers all over his toolbox at work.
Woo!
So they are out there, and I love seeing on social media. Sometimes there's a lot. Gryffindor! This all just needs to stop, and we can't be quiet, but we definitely need more men to speak up.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. We do. So I hope, who did we lose? We lost Carrie. She must have dropped back into the comments. Thank you, Carrie, for telling your stories. And thank you for the dudes that are in the chat right now. Can you just wave and say hello and, let us know that you are listening and you are here and you understand that things need to change. So, if you're here and you're engaged, just let us know. Little wave would be great. It would be fabulous. And that's really hopeful, Britt. I really love hearing that. I love hearing that more people have the Not Your Merch stickers all over their stuff. So I think it's great. So V, what do you think about this? What do you think we should do?
Sorry.
You're good.
I had to grab some dinner. I haven't had anything to eat this whole time.
No.
So I was just like, I'm going to have to eat before I get on here. I think that it is extremely important for the men to stand up and speak when it comes to, what it is that we're going through in general. I think, though, that as much as I love the fact that men are speaking up and saying things, like I've seen tons of men online saying, it's time for us to hand over the reins. We've fucked things over enough, and it's time for the women. I don't think that we should ever, and I don't think that women in general are waiting, but I don't think that we should depend on that at all in any way, shape, or form. I think that despite or in spite of the fact that the men are doing that, we should absolutely hold our ground without them. And I don't want the men to be at the forefront of our fight. I think that the women should be in front and the men should be behind us. So that's just kind of how I see it. I just think that, having men in the fight with us is important, but I don't want them to be the people that are actually in the front lines. I think it needs to be the women. And I think it sends the wrong message when we have, and this is just all my opinion, okay? You all can agree with me or not, it's fine. It's just that I think that it sends the wrong message when men are at the forefront of our fight, because it just, to me, sends the message that we're depending on them once again to do something that they've been fucking up for a long time. So that's just my 2 cents. That's how I feel about it. I love the fact that there are men, but unfortunately there are not as many men as we would like there to be in the fight with us, in reference to just getting rid of the patriarchy and trying to make a difference in what's actually happening in the world today. Those are just my thoughts.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The first Disney princess that didn't require a man to save her was Merida from Brave. And I remember when that movie came out. Disney's been around for a long ass time. And every Disney princess has needed a man to fucking save her.
Yeah. I think that it just sends the wrong message. Yeah. I don't want a man to be the one to save me. I don't want a man to come and, kiss me because I've fallen into a deep sleep. I don't need any of that shit.
Right?
I don't need it. And that's just what I've seen over and over. And to me, it's just played out, and it just needs to not be like that anymore. And that should not be part of the winning message. Did Mulan need saving? Exactly. She dressed up like a man and beat all odds.
Yep. I think Mulan came after Brave, though.
I don't know. I've seen every freaking Disney movie on the planet. I couldn't say one way or the other. I've seen them all. That's just kind of what I think. But yeah, it's just a lot. It's just very frustrating. It's very annoying to see what's actually happening. And I see a lot of people out here. I see a lot of influencers talking about the stuff that's going on. But I want you to just give this some thought. When you look at the people that are out here talking about all of the injustices, especially as it pertains to women's autonomy and all of the things that are happening as far as the injustices that we're going through, how many men are really talking about it?
Yeah.
In comparison to the women, percentage wise, not very many. So the whole thing is just disheartening.
We sure hear a whole lot of men talking about rolling back no-fault divorce, though. We hear a lot of men talking about how feminism is ruining the country and how working women are ruining the traditional family. It's frustrating. It's really frustrating. Lisa, what did you have to share?
Something that makes men uncomfortable when I say it.
Love it. Do it. Do it. Sit in it until your fingers get all pruny.
So, this is something that I realized just like in the last, I think maybe year, is that, and it's something somebody said, I think it was Integrity Matters, said about men who didn't really care about getting the grades in school because they knew that the job would be theirs anyway, white men, right?
Right.
And that right there there's so much more to that. So women, the reason why our brains are so different, why we can multitask, why we are good problem solvers, why we are so resilient, why we can take pain more, is because our genome, our genetics are coded from our ancestors.
our female, ancestors, our matriarchs, right? And our matriarchal line, it's coded into us to be that way. It's coded into us to liberal. Yeah, thank you. That was just a little. It was distracting. Sorry. It's coded into us to be that way because we've had to figure it out in all different decades and different eras where men had control, where men could pretty much unalive us and not have any consequences, where we were property, right? Like we were by law property, where our children, like us being able to handle a man's temper and to be able to, soothe that man and manipulate that man in a way that ensured our children would be safe, is the reason that we are who we are today. And as soon as those reins were released from us, where integrity matters, that matters, exactly. So as soon as those reins were taken off of us, where we no longer were bound to a man in that way, where we were on equal footing with a man in school, in grade school, in high school, in college, in all these different ways, men started falling behind. Why? Because they really never had to work for anything. White men, things were just handed to them. It didn't matter if they got the bad grades in school. They would just play football. And they would, the school would get some young woman, right, that really knew her stuff, a nerd, or some, boy who was a nerd or whatever, to do their homework for them. Or they would pass them anyway, even if they got an F, because they played football.
Would donate to the
or their
school
daddy would
board.
donate. Yes. They did not have to work for it. They did not have to develop the skills that we had to develop to survive over the centuries, over the decades, over the millennia. And because of that, when all things are being equal, when all things, when we don't have those extra obstacles in front of us that they used to put in front of us, we blew past them. They're like, our young men are being left behind, loneliness epidemic and all this stuff. Oh, women have to come back and take care of them. Because what is glaring, what is so glaring is that men, by and large, only succeeded because they took the energy, the intelligence, the problem-solving skills, the organizing skills, all the things of the women that were around them, and claimed it as their own, right? Because think about what a woman does for a husband. Really think about it. She is his mother, his seamstress, his laundress, his cook, his nymph in the bed, right? And takes care of that.
Child care provider.
Child care providers. He runs his whole schedule, makes sure he gets to every doctor, and then also helps him run his business, helps him problem solve about the guy at work who's being an a-hole, helps him figure out how to ask the boss for a raise, right? Like everything. And without that kind of management, without a woman managing their lives, they fell apart and fell behind. And that's what they're angry at. That's what they're scared of. And if we are actually going to fix this situation, really fix this situation, so that our next generations are not, of men, or of white men specifically, are not in a situation where they feel scared and angry and fearful, and resentful of the women in their life, then we have to start acknowledging their shortcomings, the fact that they are, by and large, don't have the skills that we have to succeed and excel, right, in this world. And we have to start teaching them how to problem solve, how to multitask, and all the things for themselves from a very early age. If we are going to stop this in its tracks, because if not, then the next generation of white men are just going to get more and more resentful as they fall further and further behind.
Yeah.
like I said, it makes men uncomfortable, and even some women. I've gotten like cursed out by some women for saying stuff like that. So,
Oh.
because they see their sons, right? And I have a
Yeah.
son, a 28-year-old son, and he will tell you that the reason I was able to just like develop that idea and the theory and all, whatever you want to call it, is because of him. Because he said, Mom, my whole life I was told by everybody in this society that when I got older, my life was going to be so easy. Every door was going to open for me. He said, and then when I turned 18, when I was an adult and I was out in the world, he said that wasn't true. He said it was true at the time I was told it when I was a kid, but things had changed so quickly that by the time I was an adult, it just wasn't true anymore. And he said, at first I was resentful, but because I was raised by you and because I have sense, I understood what it was, that no, like it should have never been that way. And now it's not that way. And it's up to me to figure it out. And yeah, so it's like it, yeah. So women who have, boy moms, are very defensive of me saying that. But I'm sorry, it's true. It's true. Men can't find the goddamn ketchup in the refrigerator, and it's in the front of the refrigerator.
But their brains
You are
work
not
differently. They're very narrow focused. I mean, women are just innately more able to multitask and
Yes.
do everything, right? But for me, I mean, I grew up. I'm from the 70s, and I watched women fight hard for their rights, and I saw, my older sister, she became a doctor, I became a lawyer, and it was a fight along the way, right?
Mhm.
To be tops, and it's just not appreciated now.
Mhm.
The amount of disrespect that I get on these panels all the time. It's
by men on the left too. Like, it's not just men on the right, it's men on the
Yep.
left. They'll talk over top of us.
Yep.
They'll patronize us, like the
They
whole thing.
mansplain. Yep.
Mansplain. Oh my God. To the cows come home. Integrity matters. She's like, we have to stop insulating the boys. Yes. Somebody said before, and I say it all the time because it has stuck with me. We raise our daughters and love our sons. We raise our daughters and love our sons because we grew up in a time period where that was true, where all, the doors were open to men. Men had a much easier time, and women had to fight for every single thing and had to figure it out. And that's how we raised our kids.
We have the conversation with our daughters about how to hold your keys when you're walking alone at night. We have the conversation with our daughters about how to protect your drink when you go out with people.
Yes.
Like that is a conversation that no one should ever have to have. Jenny, thank you so much for joining the panel and giving us your time tonight. What can you tell us?
Yeah, absolutely. I came in a little bit late to the conversation, but I get the gist of what we're talking about, and the comment that was just made about raising our daughters to protect themselves. I have two young daughters, one's 9 and one's 11, and I immediately thought of one is really into fashion, and like one of the hardest things that I've had is trying to help her grow in her own style and the things she wants to wear while still trying to explain to her, appropriate and inappropriate, but it really comes down to what men and other boys and stuff how they're going to look at her, and trying to find that place of like, it shouldn't matter, and I don't want it to matter, but it still does, and so like that really it really struck a chord with me. I don't know who just said that. I wasn't looking at my screen, but
It was me.
but yeah, so like talking about, it's crazy. And we also I live in Louisiana, so I live in a very, very
Oh, my
red
darling. my
red
darling.
and conservative state. Yeah. So
I'm holding
even
your hands right now, babe.
Jenny works on Matt Gromlick's team, by the way, Jess. She's
amazing.
part of Matt Gromlick's team, so she's
oh
brilliant.
yes. Yeah. I'm a volunteer on his campaign, and
Yes.
but yeah. So we like for me, it's really just the whole. I'm trying to think of how I want to say it. So I'm from Ohio originally, and I come from a pretty progressive family, and my current family is pretty progressive. So my husband fully, supports me in things that I do. He's, I think it was Lisa that was like, they can't find the ketchup. Like he does grocery shopping and like all of that kind of stuff to help support me because I run a business, and it makes me think about like when you guys were talking about the role of men, I think men like Tom or the ones that truly want to support us is not taking the lead and getting ahead, but still being visible. It actually makes me think of like the old adage about women and kids, like they should be seen but not heard. And I kind of feel like that's the men's role in our movement is like we still need them to be seen, to make it safe for other men who might, quietly support but don't feel comfortable, being out in the open, like giving them permission, or at least starting those conversations.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have a daughter that's 11 years old too, and she's also very much into fashion. So the struggle is real, girl. Sisterhood.
Yeah. No,
Oh my
sometimes.
gosh.
So
You cannot wear a bikini to school. I'm so sorry. Like,
Uh-huh. Yep. But then but why? Like, or why not? Like, what's the problem? And then you open up all, there's so many different angles to take. And I'm brutally honest and probably share too much with my girls. But I never want them to be, especially in our area, caught off guard or taken advantage of in ways that they might not expect, right? Like, so, because it's a different world down here. I don't know where everybody on the panel currently live, but when I moved to Louisiana in 2011, I used to tell people back home how it felt like we were moving back to like 1968, and the whole culture from like the traditional conservative families to the segregation between races and the blatant racism that's just it's not even hidden. Really was a hard adjustment to make. And then coming down and being like a strong, independent woman. And then now raising girls and I know this is not just a Southern thing, but we didn't teach them to say sir or ma'am. Like those are things that respect is earned. They don't have to automatically, submit to that.
Good.
And
so my mom was too, and I raised my kids the same way. So respect is earned. Yep.
Yeah. And so, we've luckily found our group down here, and we have a good little community, but we definitely are the outliers in this area.
Yeah, I think I'm in North Texas, and I am.
Oh yeah.
Yep, I get it. I'm in a pretty rural community, and I am definitely a unicorn out here. They do not like my septum piercing at all. Like the audacity that I had to put jewelry on my face. Oh my God. Yeah. It's a daily episode of Jackass out here every time I go to the store. It's great.
Yeah.
Hi, Britt. Welcome back. What did you have to share with us?
Yes, first off, I'm from Chicagoland area, so if everyone's, wanted to know where I'm from, I'm very lucky. I'm in a blue state, so
New
I'm
Jersey.
very, very. Yes.
Hang on to that, ladies.
Yes, I will. The thing I was saying, we were talking about men and their like roles, like, you know, what the women's role is for a man, and kind of personal, but I'm willing to share it. I have been going through some health issues that have made me not able to be intimate with my husband, and for a very long time. And I was at the doctor's the other day, and I was explaining to the nurse, and she was asking me questions, and she goes, "How are you able to keep your man?" Because she saw my wedding ring. And I'm like, you know what? He's very different. And the look on her face was just so of disbelief that there was actually a man out there. Because, you know, the stigma, something that we already know
Yeah.
about, you know, what is going on and what our roles are, as far as the stigma of our roles, women's roles in a relationship or in the world, you know. And it was like, just, it was so heartbreaking to see this woman get so upset, because I'm assuming she doesn't have anybody like that, but just the astonishment of it. It was like, just, it broke my heart. I'm like, you know,
Probably
and it
never
made
raised.
it,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
she's probably never raised to believe that she deserved something like that.
Yeah, it also pissed me off
You know?
in the same point. It was like,
Yeah.
it was like this weird, pissed off, heartbreaking feeling. And I just wish it wasn't like that. That needs to stop. That stigma needs to stop, especially for the young girls growing up in this world.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to give you guys a stat about our power in government. Women are 51% of the U.S. population, but only 28% of Congress, meaning women are the majority of the population and still politically represented by a niche special interest group. That's like so convenient. Governors are only about a quarter of the U.S. governors are women. We've had more men named John govern states than women total for most of American history. And for the presidency, the United States has existed for nearly 250 years. 46 male presidents, 0 women president. That means a country that trusted men through slavery, segregation, internment camps, Watergate, Iraq, the financial collapse, and multiple sexual misconduct scandals still looks at women and says, I'm just not sure that they're ready. What do you think about that, V?
You really want me to tell you?
I do. Spill it, girl. Use all the 4-letter words that you can.
I think that's a pile of bullshit. You know, I think it's a pile of fucking bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hear all the moms on here talking about their sons and stuff, and I agree with you. I think that part of the reason, kind of like adding on to what Britt said, where she was kind of sad and upset about the fact that the woman's like, how can you hold on to your husband after, you know, the fact that you can't be intimate with him? That is a very sad statement to make on her part for her livelihood. That's sad. That you would think that your only value is your,
Yeah.
because that's what they were saying. That's basically what she said. And so the fact that, you know, maybe her mom instilled in her that that was the only value that she brought to anything. Now, not to say that that is not a very powerful tool and you should use it at every opportunity to go ahead and get what you want, but it shouldn't be the only value that you have. You know, when I have he just turned 21, and the thing that I have done from the day that my son was born was to raise him to be a good man, a good husband, somebody that respected women and all people, not just women, but all people. So, you know, my son grew up cooking, cleaning, like there was no difference between my son or my daughter in reference to like how many chores they had or anything like that. My very first husband, I remember this very clearly, and it was probably the reason that I did it the way that I did it, was that he grew up in a very typical Hispanic family, and the girls were supposed to iron his clothes, make his bed, do everything for him, and he just needed to exist. And I was just like, what? Like they were supposed to be responsible for everything about their brother, and he was just supposed to exist.
the dynamic that sets up between siblings, and the message that it sends to the girls of their value in the family versus their brother's value in the family. Like there's so much that you can just see how much, like, see just like areas of like, oh, that's that's going to create trauma. Like that's not going to be, it's I can't even imagine. And you, somebody who's really thought about it because it was your husband, I can see you're still shocked at even hearing about it.
Yeah, and he told me, and actually he ended up telling me that after, because we were already engaged at the time. And when he told me that, I was just like, why does your mom do that? Like, what's the deal? And he's like, yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be. And I'm like, says who? And he's like, that's how we're going to raise our kids. I'm like, what? I'm like, that is never. And you know, what's so funny is that I wasn't as outspoken as I am now. Obviously, as I get older, I don't really think about what anybody thinks or says or anything like that. But I was just like, that's not going to, that what? And you know what's even stranger is that his sisters didn't think anything of it. They thought that it was just the way that it should be. Like, it's fine. Like, it's okay. I mean, yeah, we'll do that. They didn't even think twice about it. They just kept on like if it's, you know, a normal Wednesday. And I could not get over that. Needless to say, that marriage lasted a whole year and a half. It didn't last at all. But for so many more reasons than just that.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I have no tolerance or anything like that. But I knew even then, just from the way that I was brought up and the family that I was brought up in and the dynamic that I grew up in, that was never going to be me. I'm like, you're never going to silence me. I will use whatever gifts I'm given to their utmost potential. But I'm in fact, I have never seen myself, and I've always tried to teach my kids, specifically my son, that, you know, he's not better or less than any other person, regardless of gender.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there are a lot of moms that are at fault for putting their sons in a different category, and it should have never been that way. And I hold a lot of moms accountable for that, because I think that if they stopped that at the time of them actually growing up, that we wouldn't be in the situation that we are now.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of moms to blame for, you know, the upbringing of these men who have thought that, you know, just like my ex-husband thought that the world revolved around them and they didn't have to try as hard or anything like that. And that should have never been. That should have been something that was instilled in them as children. And
So think about your ex-husband and think about his upbringing with his sisters and his mom. And think about the message it sent to him about his importance in the world and the value of women.
He thought his shit did not stink
at
all.
I bet. I mean, he was treated like a king by his own family, his own sisters, his own mother, right?
I showed him the king that he was. Oh no, I showed him the king that he was. Oh no, I gave him the big fuck you. I don't have, you know, and in fact, I was the one that filed for divorce. I was the one that left. I was not. And it's so weird because like still, well, I mean, he's dead now, but you know, for when I filed for divorce, I remember him this is how much he thought of himself because of the way that he'd grown up. He's like, nobody divorces me. Yo soy el mero mero. This is all in Spanish, of course. Mm-hmm. I'm a boga. You couldn't possibly divorce me. Who do you think you are to divorce me? And I'm like, oh my God, let me sign the we had a house at the time and he's like, you're not going to take anything. And I'm like, you know what, dude, I don't want anything. I can get all of this shit again as long as you're not in my life. And it just, I saw what a man like that gave himself so much value, which is what I see in the orange slug, that, you know, his mom probably, you know, let him do and say whatever he wanted and didn't have any, like, she never disciplined him ever.
Yeah.
And that's why they get away with the things that they get away with. It's absolutely crazy to me. I don't understand it, honestly. I have zero tolerance.
If I could add to this, I'm thinking about this red pill phenomenon. Have you seen the Inside the Manosphere documentary.
Yeah, we did a whole on my live. We did a whole live about it. We did like a whole breakdown, had a full panel, men and women talking about it. I mean, it was just depraved. But go ahead.
It is depraved, and it's, a lot of it's born out of, I mean, post-pandemic social media, the bro thing, the tech bro thing, and they're all in this algorithm where it's their community, and it's really disturbing. Like, how do we break that?
I mean, it starts with the women. That's how you break it. It starts with the moms. That's how you break it. And as long as there are
already
MAGA
grown up and
moms,
out, these guys are already, right?
Yeah, so the one guy's mom was upholding him in it, even though she was like a liberal, like she was
Right.
very much a feminist, or I mean, self-described feminist. She said, right? She raised him by herself to be like, a gentleman and stuff. She says, and then he's the total opposite, but because he's paying for her house and keeping her in this lavish lifestyle, she is fine with what he's doing. Like,
I think it could go either way. Like for example, my husband was predominantly raised by his mom. His father was in the picture, but he worked nights. So when he was little, he didn't see him that much. And we ended up like my husband being very understanding and just upset. But then you have like the manosphere where you can have the opposite. I think it's going to take both. The mother, 100%, they need to include them in those conversations and show them how to treat. But I also think they need a good demonstration from a father that's going to show as a man how to treat a woman. But I think it ultimately starts with the mother. You have a better chance if the mother is doing a lot of that. But then you need a father to also kind of, as a man, being a man, this is what a man should do.
yeah, I absolutely agree. And there is a percentage of men, Steve, facts don't matter, who just followed Jess. He's absolutely amazing. He regularly, on his live shows, he goes live like 5 days a week during the week in the morning. And, he regularly talks about women. He regularly talks about, women's rights and how men need to step up, and men, who know better need to teach other men better, right? Teach their sons and all these things. And, hi, Kitty. The feral cat is like literally looking in the window at me while I'm talking, like I'm talking to him. It's like, you're talking to me?
Cat's interested.
Yeah, he's like, oh, okay. And and I do see value in that. Like, I do see, like, for men to say it, other men are going to pay more attention. Where when women say it, right? And I'm not talking about our sons. That's different. We have a lot of we have a lot of power and influence over our kids while we're raising them. And as mothers, yes, even though it's not necessarily our responsibility to fix the men of the world, but it's going to fall back to us because we understand the assignment and we do have so much influence over them, because, a lot of their fathers just either like leave altogether or they're pretty much checked out through the marriage,
100%.
Let me share another stat with you guys. Let's talk about money and work. Women working full-time in the U.S. still earn roughly 82 cents for every dollar earned by men overall. For Black and Latina workers, that gap is way, way, way worse. Women perform significantly more unpaid labor when it comes to childcare, elder care, household management, and emotional labor. And if women stopped doing unpaid labor tomorrow, the global economy would start wheezing like a haunted accordion. Let's talk about Fortune 500 CEOs. There's 11% of Fortune 500 CEOs. There's over 3,400 billionaires in the world. Men will fail upward directly into executive leadership, while women are asked if they're likable enough to lead a staff meeting. 14% of the world's billionaires are women. And among the top 20 richest people, there's 2 of them that are women, and one of them is a fucking Walton brat. A Walmart. That's for Walmart folks. Apparently, mediocrity keeps accidentally selecting guys named Jeff and Larry.
But see, that's the only way, right? That's the only way you can have mediocre white men prevail and succeed, is to hold women back and to hold people of color back, right? Like, that is the only way for them to succeed. That's why you saw a wholesale purging of the federal workforce of people of color, especially Black women, and women in general, especially in those higher positions, right? Those higher ranked positions in the military, in the State Department, in the various public sectors. And there was even extensive pressure put on the private industry to do the same. And a lot of these companies, in order to seek favor with the president and his administration, did the same thing.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to footnote it by saying that the where I think Trump or the administration rather is taking away the professional title to certain professions, and surprise, surprise, it's largely women's professions. So if you're a nurse, you're not considered a professional. If you're a teacher, you're not considered a professional. If you're in occupational therapy, you're not, you know what I'm saying? And what does that do? It makes it so that you cannot get the funding for educational programs the same way.
And we already have like a huge nursing shortage. So what the fuck are they doing? Like,
right?
Hello.
Oh, they want more men to be nurses because they know how, like, there's, money in that. Like, men, it's an industry where money can be made, and women have been making that money, especially going after their, like, nurse practitioner, right, degrees. That's why they want to stop them. And like I keep saying, the only way for men, right, in general, especially mediocre white men, to succeed is to hold women back. That's the only way. And so they are trying to make plans right now to start promoting these industries that have largely been peopled by women, and start marketing them as manly industries. Start marketing nursing as manly industries. Start marketing like care, like for elder care, as manly industries, because that's where the money is at, and that's where the jobs will be, and they want their people, right, white men in those industries, making the money, so they can completely shut women out of those jobs and force women back under their thumbs. Yeah. Right? Because the thing is, the reason why they want to undo the 19th Amendment is because they blame women for our current situation, our current reality, where women have equality, and so do Black and brown people, and we are making all this progress. And the more progress we make, the less automatic power, the less failing upward that white men will have, right? They won't have that opportunity.
And what is it about?
Bye, Jenny.
Bye, Jenny.
What is it about them, really the right, the conservatives, the MAGA, really denouncing, degrading education in general, right?
Yes. No, I completely understand what you're saying. Yeah. So, I mean, it's because an educated population is much harder to control.
Yep.
Right. There would be less people in their camp if the people in their camp got educated. Also, they want to prevent, in order to prevent Black and brown people and women from being educated, they have to pretty much, they have to sacrifice some of the white men, right? Like the poorer white men, they have to sacrifice them in the process in order to keep Black and brown people and women from succeeding and succeeding beyond white men in general. So that's what it's all about. Also, a lot of it, even though I know we're talking about misogyny here, but misogyny goes hand in hand with white supremacy.
Yes,
Right.
I was just going to we were ebbing into that. I just lost my train of thought.
I'm
But
sorry.
no,
Right out of
nothing,
it.
nothing to do with you. Nothing. It's just because I'm old now. But no, I was agreeing with you that it really they really want. I was in a live this morning with a group mostly the libertarians. It's so frustrating. And one of the it's just like so frustrating. One of the guests was talking about that, about America and the American culture, right? And I'm going, well, the American culture is a melting pot, right? No. There's all these groups are fighting against each other. So I think we need to embrace the American culture. I'm like, what the hell is
What
that?
is American culture?
There is no American. I'm sorry.
I mean,
What do you think
ridiculous.
the American culture is? Racism, misogyny,
yes.
Confederate flags, men, DV, P3DO, E-files.
Alcoholism, like what?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
You know what was very interesting? And this was kind of lost on people, I think. I didn't hear enough people talking about it. But with respect to the e-files, the victims, they've been very brave and they've spoken out. And, many are very staunch on getting the rest of the files. We know where we are with this, right? So when Melania Trump, when she got up and she spoke at the podium, right? She said, she was preempting some type of, I had nothing to do with it, right? Just net, I had nothing to do with it. But then said, well, when the victims all tell their stories, I'm like, what do you mean? This is not about the victims telling, this is about this administration investigating those who are in the files and investigating. I'm not saying that we have goods on all those people who are mentioned, but they need to be investigated. And they're protecting these men over the women again,
because we don't have the same value as men. Those white men have more value than women or children.
It's because they have
That's what
zeros
it's about.
attached to their bank account. If those men didn't have any zeros attached to their bank account, they'd have been thrown under that bus faster than I friggin' know. They just yeah.
But then again, yes, they would have been thrown under the bus to protect the men with the zeros, right? But we know, we've seen it when men go into court and they are accused of hurting women and children, they don't get as much of a punishment. Their sentences aren't as long as if they hurt another man.
Well, we elected we in quotes, but this country elected an adjudicated, assayer. So that tells us a lot about our culture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does.
And it's just hideous. and I hate to be this person who's just like decrying and complaining, but we need to really, I remember after he was first elected and there was the women who came out in droves all over the world with their pink hats. It gets lost, the abrogation of Roe versus Wade gets lost in, the e-files and look here, don't look there, the Iran war, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Squirrel.
We need to get back to
Exactly.
us as women in society and don't let Gloria Steinem down, you know?
Do you guys remember Brock Turner?
Brock Turner. Why does that sound
Yeah,
familiar?
UFC Brock Turner.
No, he was a college student who raped
Oh, yes,
a
that one.
woman, and
Yes.
the judge was like, "We can't really do anything. We can't sentence him to the max because he's got a future ahead of him, and it would be just terrible. It would ruin his life." And people were
Yes.
pissed. So I want to talk to you guys about violence and safety, and then after I share these stats with you, V, I would like to get your response on this. Women are far more likely than men to experience severe intimate partner violence. Homicide is the leading cause of death for pregnant women in the United States. Not cancer, not hemorrhage, not rare complications. Good old-fashioned schmurder. About 1 in 5 women, and I think it's more than this, by the way. 1 in 5 report experiencing or completed or attempted grape during their lifetime. Women are significantly more likely to be stalked, sexually harassed, or unalived by intimate partners. Men fear rejection. Women fear being schmurdered for rejecting men, and that difference absolutely matters.
That's chilling.
Go ahead, Vina.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll have to talk about my ex-husband again.
Yay.
So like I said, I didn't end up married to this man for very long. But when I finally, well, I say finally, because we lived together probably less than a year before I filed for a divorce. When I filed for the divorce, and I knew that I was done. I had a friend who her dad was an attorney and said, "Listen, I'll help you," because I didn't have any money. I was, 22. He's like, "But if you ever go back to this man again, I won't ever help you again." And I'm like, "Nope." Because if I decide that you're no longer part of my life, you best believe you're no longer part of my life. If I excommunicado you from my life, you're done. So I'm not one of those women. It's like, if you don't do what I say, I'm going to get a divorce. No, if I say we're getting a divorce, we're getting a divorce and it's done.
But I can change you.
Yeah, no. So I knew that at the age of 22. So when I said I was getting a divorce, I was done. And I was going out, hanging out with my friends, doing whatever. Was I heartbroken because, I got married to stay married? Yeah, of course I was upset. So I come home one night from being at the club, and this is kind of like indicative of men that grow up in a situation where, they are grown up as gods. This man thought that it was okay that when I got home, because I still had my home, and he still lived there, even though I couldn't kick him out because it was a house that was under our name. When I got there and I was getting out of my car, he was pointing a pew-pew at me, my pew-pew, in fact, my pew-pew. It was my pew-pew, pointing the pew-pew at me and telling me that he was going to unalive me. I had gotten off the car and I was there with my girlfriend, and my girlfriend was freaking out, and I told her to just walk away and just leave me there with that man. So we stayed there, and all this to say, I was fine. The cops came. I told them, if you're going to kill me, kill me. If not, get out of my way. I'm going to walk up to the house. I got to call the cops. And I literally just walked by him. He was calling me every name in the book. Go to go inside the house, call up the cops and say, yes, he's right here. He's pointing the gun at me. And I don't think he thought that I was actually doing what I said I was doing, because I was so calm about it. And my point with all of this is that if we don't stop men and stop being afraid of men and if we don't start standing up to men doing the things that they do, they're going to think that they can do this to us all the time.
Yeah.
We have to stop being afraid to stand up, kind of the way that Integrity Matters was talking about. It doesn't matter what they think or how they think about it. You have to just stand up to all of it. And we have to stop, being brought up to fear men, because they're just people the way that they are. Maybe they're bigger than us, although my ex-husband really wasn't. He was 5'7", and weighed about 140 pounds. But nonetheless.
Aww.
He's so tiny. But he just thought, with all of his 5'7", 140 pounds, he thought he was a gorilla. And these men are brought up to think that they are absolutely, the type of people that nothing can happen to them. He was literally in high school. He was looked upon as like some sort of god. Like, these men are growing up to think that they can conquer and just be the end all to all. And that's why these stats are the way that they are, because these men think that they can get away with it. And more judges that are men are allowing this stuff to happen. There was this woman that literally just unalived the person that she had been trafficked to. She got away from him and ended up unaliving him. And she was sentenced to 20 years in prison.
Yes.
For unaliving him.
Mm-hmm.
What the is that about? She was only supposed to get like 15 months or something like that of like restitution. And now she's being forced to pay the husband's, the victim's wife restitution for what happened to him.
What?
Like, the system is so broken. And then
What state is
That's what I'm
that?
saying. It's men have more value than women.
What
Men
state
ha-
was that, Envy?
I cannot remember. I'll have to go back and find the story. I was listening to it and I was just like, what?
I've reposted a woman. She was a journalist, and that trend that's going, my top 5 nightmares or something, scary movies or something like that. And she posted her top 5, and each one of them was a case where a woman was being physically, mentally, and or sexually abused by their spouse or a man.
Yeah.
And they were put into a life or death such situation with that man, and they walked away. And because they walked away and not the man, the book was thrown at them. The book was thrown at them because the message is that regardless of what a man does to you, that man has more value than you do. So you do not put your hands on him, because the people, the prosecutors and the defense attorneys and the judges making these calls are all men who don't want the women that they do this shit to feel like they can get away with doing that to them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, does everybody know who Eileen Wuornos is?
No.
I don't think I do.
Okay, so Eileen Wuornos was a woman that went to jail for a very, very long time. They wanted to give her the unalive penalty, but I'm pretty sure they did, but it was overturned because it was deemed that she was mentally had like mental issues. And so then it went to life in prison. But Eileen Wuornos was like the most hated woman, especially at the time of her trial, because she had been abused all of her life by men. She was in the foster system. She had multiple men who were supposed to be her, guardians, molest her, and she was raped multiple times. And she had a girlfriend at the time, and she was trying to keep this girlfriend from leaving her. She was trying to keep a roof over her head and all these things. And she started prostituting again. And when she started prostituting again, she started unaliving men, because a couple of them tried to pretty much force themselves on her and not pay her or whatever. And one guy, she was almost unalive. It was, the beating she took was so bad that she was in the hospital, had her jaw wired shut and everything. So the next time that she went out and a guy tried to take advantage of her that way, she unalived him. She started carrying a PPO, and she unalived him. And then she started doing that. She started she kind of snapped, and she was unaliving these Johns. And they finally caught her, and I think she unalived 9 or 10 of these guys. It might have been more. And when she went to court, they hated her. The men on the jury hated her. Her own defense attorney hated her. All the men hated her for what she did, the judge included, and they threw the book at this woman because of what she symbolized. And that was, how dare you take these men's life, just because they was trying to get a little something from a worker, a night worker, right? Like it was, yeah, it's just, the entire thing is so disgusting. So when men do something really, really depraved, you'll see in the comments, a lot of the women, some of the women will put up a picture of Eileen Wuornos.
Wow.
Yeah.
We
So
all remember Lorena Bobbitt. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes.
Like, I need that
Yes.
shirt. I need that shirt because I'm not messing around anymore. So
some people don't know who Lorena Bobbitt is.
I mean,
The younger people, and then I told my kids, they were like, what? I'm like, yeah, it was a whole thing.
we're done playing around.
It's just because men's lives are given more value than a woman's life. And here's the bottom line is that none of these mofos would be around if it wasn't for us. And we have to start amplifying that message. It's like, without us, you are nothing. That whole thing about behind every good man is an even better woman or whatever. I mean, it should never be like, it's like the only reason you're here, motherfucker, is because of me. Period.
Right?
Like, that's what needs to be said. Not, don't get me started.
Oh, girl. So I'm going to ask you guys this, because there's a ton of issues with medical bias as well. Like, women are not believed when they're saying that they're in pain. Their doctors don't believe them. They say you're just stressed. There's also tons of reproductive inequality when it comes to women's, which we all know because we don't have bodily autonomy unless you happen to be in a blue state. So freedom is definitely geographical at this point. And there's cultural expectations too that are hugely different, like what V was talking about before, how the sisters were expected to just clean up and cook and do all the things. But, a dad can pack the snacks once and society just acts like he discovered freaking penicillin. It's crazy. So what do we do about all of this? This is the point that we need to bring home. The war on women isn't just one thing. It's death by 1,000 systems. Right? Our body's negotiable, our labor is expected, our ambition is suspicious, our anger is inconvenient, our autonomy is conditional, our safety is optional, and our freedom is revocable. And despite all of that, women still build businesses, we still build families, we still build movements, communities, survival, and we back each other up time and time and time and time and time again. So what is the next step? What do we do now? I'll start with you, Tennis.
God, I really think that we need to try to rally some great leaders to take on the cause a little bit more than they have. I know that AOC and Elizabeth Warren, the women's, the ones with the voices. They are, like, AOC was speaking down in Miss Alabama about voters' rights, and she gave a great speech. But we need to, and I know what local community is also important, but we need to get out there. We need to have a women's rights rally. We've done the No Kings protest. We've done all of that, but I think we need a separate movement. Again,
yeah.
What do you think?
I think that's true. I think it's absolutely discouraging when they're talking about ending no-fault divorce, and they're talking about revoking the 19th Amendment. And
you found the picture. Yeah, that's one of the main pictures you will see everywhere.
I love it. Yeah, because authoritarian movements always start with controlling women, reproduction, education, sexuality, marginalized groups, and information every single time. What do you think, Britt?
Agree with Tennis. We definitely need to have a separate movement and a rally for women's rights. Vote. We need to get the right leaders in place. Hopefully a lot of them are women. Because it's about time women ran this country.
Here, here.
I also think if you can't be afraid of doctors, if they work for you. So if they are dismissing you, find another doctor as much as you can. Don't let your voice not be heard. And I know that can be hard because, they're intimidating. They're doctors that you think they know, but you've got to speak up. I was dismissed for years about my pain, and I just kept going to doctor till I found one that actually believed me.
Yeah.
But
And
I
that's
like
hard
the
to
idea
do.
of a separate movement. Yes, it is very hard to do. It took me many years, but I didn't give up because I knew I was in pain and I wasn't going to be silenced.
Yeah. What do you think, V?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's way overdue in terms of, the way that we handle things in different, and you're right. I mean, I had the same situation with me, with my doctors and stuff. People just have got to start believing the women. And it's so, what really makes me upset about the whole thing is that seeing other women not believing women. That's probably the thing that pisses me off the most when it comes to any of the things that I see, like when I see women that have been trafficked or women that have been abused in some way, shape, or form. Seeing other women actually, you probably everybody heard the story about Afterwagen, what he did to Pollyanna Potty Mouth and what he did to her. And, immediately when he came out with his, months later when he came out with his apology about trying to apologize to her. Yeah, where he literally started to and went off to basically say that didn't really happen that way and it wasn't as bad as she's making it sound and all of this kind of stuff, and just basically walked back the entire thing. There was no apology there whatsoever.
No.
The whole apology in and of itself was garbage. But the part that was even more garbage is the women in the comment section. Oh, we all make mistakes sometimes and it's okay. Your voice is too important for, you to go away, that kind of bullshit. It's like, there is no excuse and he should have been completely banned from social media in general. Like there needs to be no excuses, no more forgiveness. The reason that these men get away with this shit that they get away with is because they are always pardoned or it's always minimalized in some way, shape, or form. And that can no longer be. It can no longer be. Just like this woman that, was sexually trafficked at the age of 15. They threw the book at her for being trafficked. Like the woman, this young girl, this child had lost her innocence at the hands of a deranged person, and she's being punished for it. It's just there is no forgiveness. There's no second chances. There's none of that. And once we start doing that, once we do the pedos won't reoffend if they're no longer here. Once that starts to happen, I bet you any amount of money that kind of bullshit starts to cut off, because these guys know they can get away with it because the system is set up that way.
The system's
We
built
should
that way.
advocate for mandatory sentencing for essay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes,
Yep.
100% agree on that.
You
And those
talk
I mean-
about stopping it.
limitations.
That's what you have to do. You have to have minimums.
There was another case about an athlete, and I think I can't remember his name, in Ohio, that has done it to several young girls. And he gets away with it over and over again because his parents know attorneys and judges and things like that. And he continues to assault young women, and they know he's a predator, and he continues to get away with it because he knows people.
That's infuriating.
And it's just, and he's a baseball star, I believe. And he gets, they're like, oh, we don't want to take away his scholarship. He's got such a bright future. What about the girls' futures?
Mm-hmm.
What about theirs? What about the fact that he took away their lives and their livelihood?
Have you
And then
guys
they're going to have PTSD for the rest of their fucking life. What about that?
Yeah,
It's
right.
another it's like we're constantly told, we're constantly shown we have so much less value. We have so much less value than the men. every time you have a case like that where they talk about his future and not ruining his future,
His future.
every single time, right? And they have no regard for what happened to the young woman. They have no regard for her, what her future is going to be like now, that she has been forever changed, forever traumatized, right?
don't
A
think
lot
that
of
there's-
women,
I think
they
that-
drop out of school.
I think that happens, and I'm not saying that it's not just the justice system, but I don't think that we have been pissed off enough in the past in order for this to be changing. I don't think that any of us have been mad enough about any of the stuff that's going on.
I don't know who said it, but it might have been you. Talked about the women who uphold this stuff, like the women that we're also fighting against, that uphold the patriarchy, that have
Yes.
internalized the patriarchy.
Yes.
And I just want to say that I don't think the patriarchy holds up. I don't think it still would be holding up if not for those women.
Agreed.
I just
And I
wanted to raise
think the
another.
women like us that are not going to be tolerant of that, I think that we have been tolerant. We haven't been loud enough. We haven't been mad enough. I think the time is now, and I think we're finally pissed off enough. I think we are. But even still, even with all of the things that we talk about and how much more we're bringing it, I make videos about stuff all the time, every day. But this hasn't been my situation the whole time. I haven't always done this. And I don't feel like I'm still enraged enough to be able, I don't think my voice is enough. I think I need more. I feel like one of the things that I want to be helping with, I sent a video, a message to an influencer here where she was talking about that particular case. And she was saying, and she's an attorney, and she's saying, we need to help this woman. I'm like, what do you need from me? That's what we need to start asking. How do we start? And if somebody's not doing something, then you start doing something. We can't wait for somebody else to start something. Maybe look for people that might be working and you can work with them. But we have to stop waiting around like, well, what should we do? What should we do? What should we do? And wait for somebody to do something. We need to just start doing it.
I think we should take a look, all of us, at the suffrage movement, and what those women did, and how they moved mountains, and how can we garner that kind of, bring it back. That's at risk now. All the work that was done in the 60s for women's rights, to get the right to take frickin' birth control and
own a credit
to
card.
choose
Have
a
bank
credit
account.
card, checkbook, that whole thing. I think we, we can be students of historical movements like that and see what they did, get down into the nitty gritty of what, how, look, I'm the glass is 3/4 full for me. I don't want to become, I was saying before that I live in New York, so I live in this microcosm of somewhat liberalism, there's definitely a lot of patriarchy bullshit here too.
Yeah.
But I think if we can all collectively try to start a new movement, really, because you're right, we haven't been loud enough. We haven't. So that's one thing. And the other thing I wanted to bring up, which is kind of a red herring here, but have you noticed that there's the Department of Health and vis-a-vis the freaking RFK Jr. and his sort of, just completely anti-health movement. Like he's promoting, that all this dietary stuff, like red meat, and it promotes testosterone. Like there's a big push. There's a big push among men to increase their testosterone, whilst women who could use testosterone, some women need testosterone, are being denied it from their doctors. I just thought I'd bring that into the discussion.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that's part of the red pill, right, Jess?
Yeah.
Right, that's whole part of the
Yeah.
maxing or something they call it, and I don't know, all the weird shit that they do. And
Yeah.
but I mean, part of this conversation, I'm sure, Jess probably has it in our notes to bring it up, but is the normalization of so many of this stuff. RFK, speaking of RFK, and him talking about the sperm count of teenagers, and how
Teenage birth rates are down.
yes, and teen girls are raring to go with their their ability to conceive, their fertility ability or whatever is through the roof.
What the fuck?
And it's not compatible with teen boys. As a matter of fact, the 40-year-old men are the ones with the high sperm count. Like he's drawing that parallel there and connecting those dots for people without connecting those dots. And you got people like Megyn Kelly talking about that these young girls that Epstein abused were not children. He's not really a P3DO. He just likes the barely legal type,
Oh my
right?
God,
To
barely
humanize
legal.
them,
Oh
At
my
15.
God.
right?
And then states like Florida decide that they're going to lower the age of consent, right? Like they lower the marriage age. They're trying to, like, it's so bananas.
Yes, but it's all
That's-
connected.
yeah,
It's
it's
all
all
connected
connected.
to normalize this stuff. And then, like Jess said, you got this guy in with his full chest going on Fox News saying that the problem with the birth rate is that 15 to 19-year-old teenage girls are not having enough babies because they have taken the lesson that we have been trying to instill in them for the last couple decades to wait until, and he even said this, they're waiting until they're in their early 30s until they're more stable and more financially able to take care of a child. Yes, that's what you would want, but no, see,
Exactly.
it takes care of multiple things if you can get them pregnant between 15 and 19, because then they don't finish school. Then they're not able to earn more money than their male counterparts, right? And then they're stuck at home. They're much easier to control, like all the things. And they're having babies. But this is what I don't get, guys. This is what it does not make sense. What is with the alarm on we're not having enough babies at a time when AI is taking everybody's jobs? Isn't that good that we're not having as much people if people are not going to have jobs?
Right. And they want to kick out millions of undocumented workers.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. It does not. None of it makes sense, except to say it's their excuse to start normalizing what was normal for most of our civilization,
They
which
want
is
white
40-year-old
Christian-
men
they want-
and little girls.
They want white Christian babies is what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there was just a recent vote, I believe in Oklahoma, correct me if I'm wrong,
Yes.
that like there was a bunch of Republicans that voted against ending childhood marriage or raising the age or something to legal marriage, and I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, right. I think they were advocating a really young age.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Talk about telling on yourself.
Yeah.
And why do those people still have their offices? Like,
Gryffindor.
why do those people still have a job? If they vote in favor of something like that, they should automatically be removed from office. You know?
100%. It should be a disqualification. You're done. You're automatic removed.
See what we would do if we ruled the world, you guys. See what we would do. So here's what I think needs to happen here as women and men who are allies. Okay? Not just allies, accomplices. We need y'all to be accomplices, okay?
Yes.
Not just allies. We need to organize locally, like our lives depend on it, because it literally does. I'm talking school boards, county commission, judges, sheriffs, state legislatures, hospital boards, library boards. The right understood something decades ago that progressives are finally learning. And it's that local power shapes daily life faster than our national rhetoric does. So if your state legislature can change your body autonomy before Congress finishes arguing over lunch, right? Like, super important. Also, we are in a election season right now. We're in this huge election cycle right now, and so many people are dismissing these smaller elections. Sure, they're in the primaries, but there's also, down ballot races that they just do the big ones and then they leave all the rest of the down ballot ones empty. Don't do that. Because people banning books, restricting abortion, blocking healthcare, attacking libraries, and undermining public schools are all those people that are filling out every single little bubble on that down ballot. And a lot of them just won by a few hundred votes, sometimes uncontested. So patriarchy survives because exhausted people disengage. And that system depends on burnout. And that's why joy matters, and community matters, and humor matters, and rest absolutely matters. Exhausted people stop fighting, and connected people don't.
You're right.
That's another thing, right, Jess? If they can keep us pregnant, if they can keep us so busy raising their children, we won't have enough time and energy to organize, to vote, to run for office, to work on campaigns.
Yeah.
Or do any of the things that we're doing. We will be under their control. There's so many pieces to this. I mean, we could, for the next 6 months, we could get on here every day and talk about a different piece of this puzzle.
Oh, yeah.
Because they are coming at us from different angles. And the part that, misogyny, white supremacy, capitalism all play, and maintaining that status quo for rich white men, right? And, I'd say all the time, right, these are the tools. These are the three main tools of rich white men to keep rich white men in power. And that is the patriarchy, because patriarchy keeps men in power. White supremacy or racism keeps white people in power, and capitalism keeps the rich in power. And so what do you get when you put those three together? Rich white men. And that's what the tools in their toolbox that they use time and time again, and to ensure their own power, and they're losing it. They are feeling it slip through their fingers. And Stacey says it all the time. People who've had to let go of things that are important to them leave claw marks, right? And so all the things that we are seeing in our world today, and have seen in the last couple of years, at least the last 15, are claw marks. These are the claw marks of these people, these depraved, rich white men, and their ilk, right? And their supporters who are not so rich. Of the claw marks of them trying to hold on to their power, hold on to the status quo, and hold on to their rich white man participation trophy.
Yeah. So the other thing that we need to do, and I'm actually going to take a nod to my friend V when I say this part, and I want every woman in here to hear this. And I'm going to give you all homework. You need to repeat this to another woman. Just one. And tell her to do the same. Okay? Normalize anger. Normalize our anger. Women are taught from birth to make rage aesthetically pleasing, to soften it, to explain it, to package it, to apologize for it. But anger is information. And if women are angry at losing their rights, being underpaid, dying in childbirth, being dismissed medically, carrying unpaid labor, being targeted politically, and fearing violence, that anger is fucking rational. You don't owe the system comfortable resistance. So stay fucking angry. And don't apologize for it. Thank you, V. Love you, babe.
I love you too. I call it a controlled rage. I mean, it's fun. We need to be pissed off at all points of this entire thing. We need to stay mad. But the best type of angry is the controlled anger, the kind that actually allows you to get results. Like, going off like a baboon is not going to get us anything. We have to have a controlled rage that gets things accomplished. So stay fucking pissed off like nobody's business. And stop calling men that are absolutely worthless pieces of garbage pussies, because we already know that pussies are strong as hell.
Shit, that's what I've been saying. You want to piss
Call them
off a man?
nutsacks.
Call him a testicle. You flick
Right.
that sucker and they're crippled for a week. Seriously.
Call him a nutsack. Don't call him a pussy. Come on.
Well, I think it was, I'm a very big Golden Girls fan, and I think it was Betty White that said they need to grow a vagina instead of to grow a sack of balls. But I think it was Betty White who said that, and I'm like, I start saying that now instead.
I can leave it to Betty White. Love that woman.
I know, she's amazing.
National
treasure. I'm just, they are not that, because the power of the puss, come on now.
We bring life. It brings life.
I've always said if men had to give birth, the human population would stop.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
We'd be done.
100%. It'd be done. It'd be done. It'd be done. Yeah.
Yep.
So
the other thing that we have to do is we have to stop debating our humanity. And this one is huge because authoritarian movements love forcing marginalized people to do endless debates about whether or not they deserve rights. It drains energy, and we don't have to endlessly litigate that. Whether women deserve bodily autonomy, whether queer people deserve dignity, whether minorities deserve equal protection, whether democracy fucking matters, because at some point you stop auditioning for humanity in front of the people committed to misunderstanding you.
it's not up for debate.
Exactly.
Oh,
It's just that
yeah.
simple.
That it's just that simple.
Mhm.
That's
It's
one
not up for
thing.
debate.
That's one thing in my space. We say it. We are not going to debate anyone's humanity.
Mhm.
We
It's
don't
not-
do that.
That's not on the agenda. It's not up for debate. Like, what? Yeah, no.
Yeah, the fact
no.
that the right has put
No.
rights on the table is infuriating to me. They should have never been that way.
You
We
know,
used to be able to
Jazz,
have a conversation with Republicans about things that mattered, about policy, about where that fucking stop sign's going to go. But now they've been twisted and manipulated and warped into this disgusting monster that believes that brown people deserve less than them.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
that's the thing. I think you hit on something so important, and that's the argument they want us to have. The arguing over whether we deserve rights or if this group deserves rights or whatever, right? And the fact of the matter is, white men have always been the default, right? Nobody ever argues over whether white men deserve rights. They never have to argue about that. They are the default.
Yes.
I mean, they pretty much argued that in front of the Supreme Court, right? With the Voting Rights Act gutting. That's what they argued, that it's okay if you draw a district, right? You draw a district to protect the voting representation of white people, right? It's fine. But if you try to do that with black people and to ensure their representation, is racism. Because being white, especially being a white man, is the default, right? That is automatic. They are the people they were talking about when they said all men were created equal, right? All men, all these white men were created equal.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's frustrating that a man can drive from Texas to Illinois and not lose any piece of his identity. But a woman does it, and a pregnant woman especially does it, and her rights flicker off and on like a strobe light. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So the other thing that we got to do, and I think we're doing a really great job here. So high five to everybody in the chat. High five to everybody on the panel. High fives. All around, one of the biggest failures in modern America is isolation. The patriarchy loves it. They thrive on isolation. People are easier to manipulate when they're alone, financially desperate, disconnected, ashamed, and exhausted. And community is protective infrastructure. And that's why we do what we do here. That's why we work so hard on our grassroots efforts. And it matters so much, not because one candidate magically can save us, but because community teaches people that you are not crazy, you're not alone, you're not powerless, and we can still build something together. And that is super dangerous to authoritarianism. And I, for one, absolutely fucking love watching them squirm. So thank you guys all for being here.
Of course,
No
Jessica,
responses
this
to
was
that.
amazing. That was amazing.
Thank you.
This was such a good conversation. I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. You know, I always like hanging out with you guys too.
Oh yeah, you're always welcome here.
Thank you for having us, Jess.
Yes,
we-
thank you for having us.
Thank you. This
We
was a
have-
great discussion.
And we have so much more to talk about. Lisa's not lying when she says we could have this conversation every day for the next 8 months, and we still wouldn't even scratch the surface of all the bullshit that we've had to put up with for the past 250 years, you guys. So
I agree. I think it should be like maybe a once a month, maybe every other week
Yes.
conversation.
No,
Yeah.
and that's not even a bad idea. And Jess's idea about organizing locally, about organizing locally and having like a group of women, like almost like a phone trees type situation, where we can like Avengers assemble this bitch
yes.
when a woman is in need, right? And like create networks to help get women out of situations that they are in. Like, you know, we have to start doing this. We have to do this. We have to start looking out for other women, and have to start pulling women at, you know, pulling their heads out of their own asses. These pick me bitches, which are holding us back, right? By you know, and not for nothing, they are waking up, right? You have Ashley, what is it? Elon Musk's old flame, you know, baby mama.
Yeah.
She is spilling the tea on the regular, and it's
Love
got
her.
the receipts and everything, right? Ashley St. Clair. And there are other women like her who are deconstructing from MAGA, deconstructing from the right, deconstructing from the patriarchy, Christianity, Christian nationalism, you know, white supremacy, all in real time, all at the same time. And, you know, yes, they deserve accountability. And Ashley, every single video she starts with, I used to be MAGA, I used to do this, I know, I'm sorry, right? Like every single time, she does not try to hide from it. And so there has to be accountability, right? But also it does my heart good to see so many of these women saying, I divorced my MAGA husband, I finally got away from him, I finally got away from it, I left it. I mean, it's happening everywhere. So these men's attempts to keep us under their thumb is just making them even more lonely. So this quote unquote loneliness epidemic is going to get a whole lot worse.
Yeah, and they're going to pull every single lever that they can.
Oh,
every single one in order to stay in power. So do not be surprised at the level of their cruelty and their complete disregard. Right? Because keeping them in power is priority number one. Everything else doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
So
I think it would be good, like that a phone tree would be good, because I know it's hard for some people in like very rural areas or in Republican states that may not have the access, like us having, you know, like doing this and having phone trees among us in case you can't reach somebody. Like I'm very fortunate being in a blue state. I'm sure I could find, you know, women around here to create some kind of niche, but it may not be feasible some, you know, places elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, there are a lot of blue dots in some of these red states, right? In these red states, they're all over this app, and you know, I actually think that we could do it. Danny Cook has this project for the people.
Yes,
and she's actually tracking those blue dots. She's actually getting people to sign up, and then she's putting like a little tack, like a virtual tack on a virtual map, and you can see it on her website. And she's showing where we are, and she's filling that map up quite quickly. And she's like, oh, now there's 40, now there's, and it's mostly women. It's primarily, I would say it's 80%, maybe more of women.
It's because we're so fucking angry, and justifiably so. Like, we're done with this shit. So the other thing that I want you guys to start doing, and this is going to be homework for you. Stop using euphemisms when we're talking about these kinds of things. Okay? It's not pro-life. It's forced birth. It's voter suppression. It's misogyny. It's authoritarianism. It's white supremacy. It's economic control and Christian nationalism. The right has spent decades radicalizing people through emotional clarity. Meanwhile, progressives sometimes communicate like an HR memo written by a haunted oat milk latte. So people need more moral clarity, not academic gymnastics. And we've got to stop sugarcoating what is happening here to make it safe language, And finally, the last thing I'm going to say that we absolutely need to do is we need to protect our joy. Because authoritarianism wants fear and exhaustion and cynicism and hopelessness. But joy is not denial. Joy is resistance. Laughter is resistance. Art is resistance. Community. Gosh, you guys are so amazing. And this right here is resistance. Creating while they try to crush you is resistance. It doesn't mean pretending things are fine. It means refusing to surrender your humanity while fighting for everyone else's. So that's your homework.
Love that. Love that.
Now, I would love to continue this conversation, because as we continue to see things stripped away from us, as we continue to hear the normalization of these people talking about removing our rights from us, as it becomes more mainstream and they become louder and louder and louder, we are going to continue to have so much work to do. Not only to do all of the things that we've been talking about and getting involved locally with our elections and changing the way that we speak about these things, but also by inspiring other people to join us, because these things matter. And it's so easy to put your blinders on and say, I'm fine, I'm comfortable, it doesn't matter to me, because they just don't understand what is at stake. So I'm not saying go out and fight all the women who are denying what's going on here, although it is an option. I am saying don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't be afraid to talk about your own stories and your own experiences, and try to reach somebody that needs it.
I make fun of them constantly. So, I don't know what to tell you. I make fun of them every day. Every day I call them out. And I do it on every effing platform I can. And
I love it.
They don't like it, but I don't care.
They're so fragile too.
Guys, I don't know if everybody's heard about it yet, but there is a group that is like forming over the last couple of weeks, run by founder of Voices Unbound. She is creating this group that is called White Women. Wait,
she's looking it up.
Yeah, White Women for Racial Accountability. And it's like a deconstruction space where we have we read books and we talk about them. There's events and different things, and you can ask questions, and it's like a complete safe space, judgment free zone type thing, so that you can we can all work our shit out and deconstruct from white supremacy, because we all have internalized racism, internalized white supremacy, and we all have internalized misogyny, right? And there's even the capitalism, isms, all the isms. Capitalism, we have internalized reflexes that makes us want to defend capitalism, because we've been indoctrinated for our entire lives. Yeah, I love Founder too. She is a real one. She really is. Just a couple of books that I am reading right now. And I know the group's reading the 1619 Project, and I have the audiobook that I listen to, then I have the paperback, and I go back through the pages just listened to in the audiobook, and then I like mark like little things and write notes in the margin. So I say I'm studying it. I'm studying the 1619 Project. Also, if you don't have time to read, or you're not like a really good reader and you don't like audiobooks, Hulu has a series on the 1619 Project.
Oh, do they?
They do, yeah. And I'm gonna watch that when I'm done listening and reading.
What's the name of the club or the person doing it?
Oh,
the organization.
It's Founder Voices Unbound. I need to put it in my link tree. The information, and so if you DM me, Britt, I will give you the information. But yeah, I'm gonna put it in my link tree too, so that it's there. But the other book that I just got in the mail that was recommended to me by a lot of people in the group is called White Women. It's everything you already know about your own racism and how to do better.
Yeah.
So yeah, it came highly recommended. It's like this, this is like the beginning, like the basics.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Anybody who wants to know anything about the Project for the People, or the White Women Deconstruction Group, or 1619 Project. Also the 1619 Project, Queen V. Lee is, and if you want information on her, I'll give you her stuff too. She's actually doing a read every Saturday afternoon. She does a read, a couple chapters from the 1619 Project too. So there's a lot of good informational spaces, educational deconstruction spaces.
Awesome.
Deconstructing Karen. Oh my God, is that a thing? Just why?
Yes.
Oh, I love the Black women in my community, in our community. They are amazing. They have been such amazing teachers, and they are always so patient with me and give me so much grace, and I'm so grateful for it.
Awesome.
Yeah, they're just absolutely amazing. And it's why I always feel so comfortable talking about race and talking about issues and stuff like that, because I've learned so much from them, and because they give me the space to do my, to deconstruct and to learn and to advocate and do all the things.
Is
So
that
yeah,
Jenna agreeing with you?
amazing. That's our ducks agreeing with me.
Awesome.
Hey, it was so nice talking to you guys. I have to jump down, but
too.
I'm looking forward to the next time, and I'm gonna.
Tennis, do you want to give us just a final thought from Tennis? If you guys don't follow Tennis, what are you even doing? Follow her, please.
I have to follow all of you.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say that this has been a really, really inspiring live, and to know that I learned a lot, and I hope that you do it again. And I'm going to study some movements where we can employ and garner some of the tactics and strength of former women's movements. And also I'm going to, like our host says, reach out and speak to a woman and have them speak to a woman, and let's get this thing going.
That's right. I love it. Thank you so much, Tennis, for being here. Thank you for spending time with us today. Britt, would you like to give us a final word, final moment of inspiration from Britt today?
First off, I want to say thank you for having me. It's the first time I've ever been on or spoken anything.
You did so good too. You did amazing.
You did amazing.
Thanks. Yes. Thank you. Just, obviously vote, organize, we will get through this. There is an end to this. Don't know when it will be, hopefully very soon, but just keep on the fight, ladies.
Love it. Thank you so much. V, what about you?
I'm just gonna keep doing what I do
Pissing people off. Woo!
every day.
You guys, if you don't know, V is the owner, operator, amazing genie of the garden of notyourmerch.com/iTav. Yeah, I said it on the live and they're probably going to get mad at me, but I don't give a shit. Listen, if you need to wear your voice on your chest to inspire other people to find their strength and their footing in the time of authoritarianism, look no further than notyourmerch.com/iTav. This woman and her daughter have put together something absolutely inspirational and amazing. They have created a monster in me for sure. And I am so eternally grateful. You guys should definitely go check them out. Pick up a car decal or a really cute bag or a really amazing shirt that will make you laugh and make everybody else laugh too. So
They are the best.
they're the best.
Thank you. I mean, it's the merch is amazing, but I use my voice every day to call them out, make fun of them, call them what they are, the pieces of garbage that they are. I do it every day. Even when I feel bad, I still do it.
I didn't need any of your merch when I lived in California, but when I moved to Texas and I bought that Chinga Maga shirt and I wear it everywhere now and people love it.
Yeah.
I get compliments on it all the time. I get MAGA coming up to me going, "Yeah, MAGA." And I'm like, "You're an idiot."
Right.
That's the best part. That is the best part about that t-shirt. I freaking love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoever invented that phrase or whatever and started putting it like is freaking genius. I'm just
They are.
Yeah,
They are.
amazing. Well, thank you, V, so much for being here. Lisa, final word from you, my dear.
That I will parrot what everybody else says. We are going to get through this. We got this. This is the last big breath of the empire. The United States, thankfully, and I'm cheering it on, is a declining empire. This is what it looks like. This is the last big gasp of the patriarchy and white supremacy and, the old guard that created this country to benefit them and only them. It's done, right? They are done. They know they are done. They are holding on, scratching and clawing to try to reverse everything that's happened, but there's no reversing it. They're just not. They're done. And we have to, hold the line. We have to keep doing what we're doing. We're educating ourselves, educating each other, staying informed, getting out and voting and organizing and doing all the things. This is how we do it. We keep doing it because it's been working, and we know it's been working because of how desperate they've been getting. They are so desperate, and they're so desperate because they know that we're coming for them. Not for nothing, guys. I don't know if you've heard, but about a week and a half ago, they set up a war room at the White House to talk about and figure out what they're going to do when the Democrats take back the House and likely the Senate. They believe that they're going to lose the House and the Senate.
Good. Let them squirm.
Yes.
Let them sit in it until their fingers get all pruny.
Yes.
I love
So
it.
that's-
Well, thank you so much, Lisa, for being here. We appreciate you joining us tonight.
Always.
Before we get into our closing for tonight, there's a couple things that I want to mention to you guys. Of course, notyourmerch.com/iTav. Go and check it out, because every purchase that you make using that link actually helps us promote grassroots efforts. Shockingly enough, yes, we are an affiliate, and that means every time you purchase, we get a little percentage of that, and we can push that forward to amazing candidates like Jeff Pixley, who we were able to make a $50 donation to his campaign, or Brandon Wade in Oklahoma, who we just made a $50 donation to. So it matters, and it absolutely makes a difference for you guys to help us with that. All of that stuff makes a difference. So thank you for that. The information is right there on the big screen. I did it, you guys. And also on Friday, May 22nd, join us on It Takes a Village, where we welcome congressional candidate Matthew Levine from Missouri's 6th District. Matt Levine is running on a platform of focused healthcare access, education, support for working families, and strengthening rural communities. A TSA officer and a special needs educator. and advocate. Levine says he's fighting for everyday people, not just corporate interests. Tune in for the conversation live with yours truly. So it's going to be amazing. Yeah, Jeff was amazing, guys. We loved him. And Brandon too. If you haven't talked to Brandon, Lisa, you should reach out to him. Brandon Wade is in the 2nd Congressional District in Oklahoma. And honestly, these districts in Oklahoma and Missouri and Arkansas and like everywhere in the South are so very important right now. We all see what's happening.
Yes.
We all see why. So it is so incredibly important that we do everything we can to give these people the biggest platform that we possibly can. So that takes all of us to work together. We all need to do that. So here's the truth.
Okay. He's in 6, Oklahoma 6.
Yes.
Oh, no. Okay. So, Levine is in Oklahoma. Wait a minute. No.
Levine is in Missouri's
Missouri
6th district.
Okay.
Brandon Wade is in Oklahoma's 2nd Congressional District.
Right. Sorry. And this week we have Rustin Knudsen. Yeah, I'm probably not saying that right. Knudsen, for California 36. He is trying to unseat Ted Lieu, who is in Democratic leadership.
Really?
Yes.
Ooh.
And I know. And then we have
love me a good
Antonis. Yeah, Krista Lieu or something. I'm probably not saying. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to say his name right either. He's in also a California district to unseat Pete Aguilar, who is like, oh my, yes, another person in leadership, somebody who is very, very freaking annoying in the Democratic Party, because they keep voting. You know, he keeps voting for bullshit.
Yeah.
Yes.
As the establishment
Thank you,
Democrats
Sarah.
are one to do, you know, like
Yes.
points for consistency. Good work, guys.
Points for consistency. Yes, Jess. So we got 2 people from leadership this week. So yeah, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays on the nights that you guys aren't. So Tuesday and Thursday. So yep, Tuesday at 8 and then Thursday at 8.
That's Eastern, yes.
Yes. Okay. And PT, as I like to tease Matt Gromlich. That's normal people time.
That's what Kim says the same thing. She goes, there's only one time zone, and that is the Eastern time zone. And I'm like, okay.
Yep. And PT, normal people time.
I win. So here's the truth, you guys. The war on women was never just about controlling women and our bodies. It's about controlling freedom and choice itself. Because women asking for full autonomy, it forces society to confront every hierarchy it was ever built on. Race, labor, religion, sexuality, power, wealth, and obedience. And that's why the backlash is so loud right now. Not because women are losing, but because women are finally refusing to shrink. And the systems that were built on obedience always panic when people stop asking for permission. So I want to raise a glass to all of you guys. I don't have a glass right now, but just imagine me raising a glass to all of you for not shrinking. Thank you all so much for standing up and being proud and pissing people off. Continue to do so. Don't forget to talk to another woman. Remind her to continue being angry and to use the right language and to continue to fight back. We will do this again. This was fun. This was great. This was inspirational. Thank you guys so much. If you want to catch the whole episode, we will put it on our Substack. You can catch it on our YouTube, all the things. And if you guys have any questions, you need any more information of anything that we talked about tonight, please reach out to us. We were more than happy to help you. And thank you guys so much for being here. V, thank you. You are a rock star, and I love you so much. Lisa.
Back at you.
Right back at you, babes. I just love you so much. Britt, you are one of my new favorite people in tennis. I have always loved you since the first time I've ever met you on a panel.
Oh,
You've
love
always
you
been
too.
the best. Amazing.
I'm always cross-examining people.
If I ever need a lawyer, I know exactly where to go.
And just so you guys know, I used to, I'm almost retired, but I did a lot of civil rights work with respect to gender discrimination, sexual harassment, race discrimination, First Amendment rights. So
Nice.
I love doing that
I
work.
might reach out to you. Matt Gromlich has asked me if I would help him. I was pre-law in school. That's as far as I went. Yep. Like I got, they tried to, get me to go to law school. Rutgers, they wanted me to go to Rutgers Law School, which would have been, I was flattered. But anyway, but he asked me to help him like develop some actual bills, right? He wants to like create some actual bills to so that he can show voters like, look, I'm not only prepared to do the job, I already have a way to I'm going to hit the ground running. As soon as I get in there, I'm going to put these bills right here, right? On the floor. I'm going to try to get them on the floor. So
Matt
I might
Bromlick is running against Mike. Yeah, sorry,
Mike Johnson.
He's running against Mike Johnson in Louisiana. So we want him to win. We want him to win.
So yeah, I'm going to start doing that. So I might, I might
reach out to me. I mean, I can direct you to, legislation that I think is good, well written. Gender. It's Title VII, pretty much of the Civil Rights Act, and the cases that follow Title VII, right? So anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, anytime for anything. Yes, I'm proud. I'm happy to be in this community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tennis. Thank you, Britt. Thank you, V. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Jen. You guys are amazing producers. You guys are in everybody in the chat. Thank you all so much. We will see you on Friday, hopefully, for another amazing discussion on It Takes a Village. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful night.
I won't be able to come, but I'll be there in spirit, and just DM me for other ones. I'm traveling tomorrow, and I won't be available Friday night, but another time though.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Tennis. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks,
Take
Gary.
care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.